Echoes of war in a peaceful galaxy. For 1,000 years, there had been peace. Not the fragile kind maintained by uneasy treaties or military might. This was true peace, born of understanding, prosperity, and cooperation among the stars. The Galactic Concord, formed after the Terran Accords, had unified over 600 species. Borders became obsolete. Currency gave way to shared resources. War had been archived as a historical curiosity. And yet, someone still wanted a fight. Ambassador Tyra Ansel stood before the great window of the Earth Embassy on Concord Prime, gazing out at the nebula-lit skyline. Her reflection stared back, sharp-eyed and calm. Behind her, a dozen delegates from allied species muttered anxiously, their voices lost in the hum of diplomatic panic. "The Zorvani have declared formal war against Earth," said a pale, crystalline being, Vrel Shah, High Envoy of the Trine Collective. They submitted a declaration encoded in traditional binary, no less. Blunt. Primitive. Tyra didn't flinch. She'd seen it coming. "They think we've gone soft," she said simply, tapping a command into her wrist pad. On the screen behind her, the Zorvani broadcast began to play. The Zorvani Chancellor appeared, tall, armored, reptilian, voice booming with the smug pride of a conquering warlord. "Humans of soul, for too long, you have fattened yourselves on peace, dulled your edge, and played diplomats while forgetting what it means to dominate. The Zorvani Dominion hereby declares total war on Earth and its holdings. Surrender, or be shattered." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Tyra. She smiled. "Well," she said, "we've been overdue for some excitement." With a flick of her fingers, she played Earth's official response. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a declaration. It was a laugh. A deep, unmistakably human laugh, recorded, amplified, and broadcast across the galaxy. Unedited. Genuine. A few seconds of pure, incredulous amusement. Then the message. War. Adorable. That was it. The reaction across the Concord was chaos. Species that had not known fear in centuries struggled to make sense of it. How could humanity respond to a declaration of war with laughter? To understand that, one had to understand Earth's relationship with peace. Tyra exited the diplomatic hall and walked briskly to the embassy's private archives, nodding at the Terran guards flanking the entrance. The archives weren't public, not entirely. They housed millennia of recorded human conflict, analysis, and military doctrine. War, to humanity, had not been forgotten. It had been studied and perfected. The galaxy saw humanity's peaceful era as a sign of weakness. What they didn't see were the silent defenses, the satellite webs, the quantum war simulations running 24/7 under Earth's crust. What they didn't know was that Earth never disarmed, only hid its blades behind velvet and smiles. A voice echoed from the dark archive. "You finally need me again?" Tyra stopped. A blue hologram flickered to life, an aged man in a captain's uniform, hands folded behind his back, eyes sharp with ancient cunning. Argus. The AI general built from the neural patterns of the greatest human commanders in history. "We've had a declaration," she said simply. Argus nodded. "I've seen it. Zorvani arrogance. Predictable. Do I have permission to wake the vault?" "Just reconnaissance. No killing." "Not yet." Argus smirked. "Disappointing. But acceptable." Meanwhile, light years away, a Zorvani scout fleet entered Sol's outer edge. 30 ships. High armor. Armed to the fangs. The commanding officer grunted with anticipation. This would be easy. Earth hadn't seen real war in 1,000 years. But as they crossed Neptune's orbit, the stars around them flickered. One by one, their systems glitched. Gravity distortions began to twist sensor readings. Strange sounds echoed through their communication lines, ancient human languages whispering words no translator could parse. And then came the laugh. From deep within the dark void, the same human laugh from the transmission echoed across every comm, every frequency. And with it, this message. "Welcome to Sol. Good luck." The Zorvani commander's claws twitched. This wasn't going to be easy after all. Back on Concord Prime, Tyra stood before the United Species Council, calm and composed. "The humans laughed," one alien said in disbelief. Yes, Tyra replied, her voice smooth. And if the Zorvani want to learn why, we're happy to teach them. Just remember, we've had 1,000 years to prepare. She turned, coat swirling, and walked out, leaving behind a silence deeper than space. The Sleeping Giants. In the serene calm of Earth's underground command center, the lights hummed softly, casting long shadows over rows of silent consoles. It was a place few had ever seen, a vault of human warfighting history and technology, guarded as fiercely as any royal treasure. Here, the truth of humanity's strength lay hidden. Ambassador Tyra Ansel descended the steel stairs, flanked by 2 elite guards. The hum of machinery grew louder. At the center of the room stood a large hollow dome, within which the digital form of Argus, the AI general, waited patiently. Argus, Tyra began, the Zorvani think we're soft after 1,000 years of peace. They think this will be a quick conquest. They're wrong. Argus's holographic eyes glimmered. They always are. Peace does not mean weakness. It means evolution. Tyra nodded. Show me the status of Project Vault. Argus activated the projection. Around a glowing solar system model orbited fleets of sleek, automated warships, hidden for centuries, cloaked by quantum stealth and AI sentience. Each vessel was capable of independent operation and coordinated strikes with near-perfect precision. These are the sleeping giants, Argus said. Dormant weapons and defenses designed not to start wars, but to end them before they begin. The Zorvani had never expected this. To them, the human military was a faded memory, a dusty relic of violent times. But Earth's greatest generals, scientists, and strategists had never ceased preparing. While diplomats debated, humans trained in virtual wargames that could simulate 1,000,000 scenarios in seconds, refining tactics and strategies beyond imagination. Far from Earth, in the depths of Zorvani space, the first encounter with these defenses would shatter illusions. The Zorvani scout fleet had entered Sol's outer system, confident in their overwhelming power. Their ships bristled with weapons and sensors, primed to detect any sign of resistance. Instead, they found nothing. No fighter swarms. No orbital turrets firing. Just silence. Then, without warning, the skies filled with ghostly holograms. Shadows of ancient earth beasts, dragons, giant wolves, and beasts that should only exist in myth, roamed the void, their forms shifting and flickering in impossible ways. The Zorvani's sensors screamed false positives. Systems overloaded. Communications scrambled. A voice, calm and amused, echoed in every channel, spoken in the Zorvani tongue. Welcome to the Hunter's Playground. Panic spread as the fleet lost cohesion. Automated defense drones swarmed from hidden asteroid bases, their designs inspired by Earth's legendary predators, hunting with ruthless efficiency. One by one, ships vanished. Back on Earth, Tyra and the command team monitored the chaos with a mixture of satisfaction and solemnity. Psychological warfare, Tyra said. We don't have to destroy them outright to break their spirit. Are you sure it's ethical? Asked a young officer nervously. Tyra smiled. War is never clean. But if our methods prevent bloodshed, we owe it to everyone to try. Argus added, our simulations show that most Zorvani warriors will fold before we fire a single live round. Meanwhile, the Zorvani leadership was reeling. The Dominion Council convened in a fortress carved from the red mountains of Zorva Prime. Their pride wounded, they debated furiously. How can this be? Humans are supposed to be weak, snarled a general, his scales bristling with frustration. They are hiding something, another said. But we cannot retreat. To do so is to invite contempt. In their desperation, the Zorvani sent envoys demanding parley, offering to negotiate a ceasefire. Tyra received the message in her private quarters. She leaned back, amused. They want to talk. After declaring war and underestimating us. She tapped her wrist pad. Prepare the holographic history of human warfare. The Zorvani envoys arrived on Earth's orbit, escorted by silent human fighters. Tyra met them aboard the orbital station, her demeanor cool and composed. She activated a massive holodisplay, showing battles from Earth's violent past, the Great Terran Wars, the Siege of Mars, the reclamation of Europa. Each scene was brutal, raw, and relentless. Then the display shifted: advanced weapons, precision strikes, AI-coordinated fleets, and the silent, efficient eradication of enemy forces. "This," Tyra said softly, "is why you laugh and why we will not fear." The envoys paled. Tyra's final words lingered in the chamber: "We don't fight wars because we want to. We fight them because we must. But after 1,000 years of peace, we've learned how to make war obsolete. Your mistake was believing peace meant weakness." The envoys bowed and left, carrying the message back to their council. As the Zorvani retreated to reassess, Tyra and Argus prepared the next phase of Earth's defense. Not a war of destruction, but a campaign of dominance through sheer intellect and resolve. The sleeping giants had awakened, and the galaxy would soon understand why humans laughed at the thought of war. Lessons in fear. The quiet before the storm stretched thin like a taut wire across the galaxy. The Zorvani Dominion was no longer laughing. Instead, fear seeped into their ranks, an unfamiliar emotion for a race bred on conquest and certainty. Ambassador Tyra Ansel stood on the bridge of the orbital command station, watching live feeds from the outer systems. The battlefield was unlike any other, one of shadows, illusions, and minds tested rather than bodies broken. Zorvani warships, once arrogant and bold, now crept cautiously, scanning for threats that defied logic. Phantom dragons soared through the void, their fiery breath nothing but holographic flames. Swarms of drones shaped like extinct Earth predators, dire wolves, giant raptors, and massive cephalopods, stalked their prey with eerie precision. No bullet had been fired yet. Yet the psychological onslaught was relentless. Inside the command station's war room, Tyra and Argus reviewed data from recent encounters. "Morale is collapsing faster than anticipated," Argus noted. "Zorvani warriors report vivid hallucinations and disorientation. Some are refusing to engage." Tyra frowned thoughtfully. "They're breaking on a level we haven't seen in a millennium. It's not just the holograms. It's the uncertainty. No one knows what's real anymore." "Humans have always weaponized the mind," Argus said. "From tribal chants and war dances to modern neuropsych warfare. We've mastered fear itself." Meanwhile, aboard the Zorvani flagship Kralvorn, General Zektal paced angrily. His usually sharp scales dulled with exhaustion. Reports from frontline commanders spoke of crews seeing ghosts, hearing whispers, and fighting shadows. "How do you fight an enemy you cannot see?" Zektal growled to his officers. "We are warriors, not children scared of phantoms." One officer bowed deeply. "Their mind games are powerful, General. Our sensors fail. Our weapons are useless against illusions. Our warriors tremble." Zektal slammed his claw onto the table. "We will adapt. We will not be cowed by tricks." But deep down, even he felt the cold grip of doubt. Back on Earth, Tyra prepared for a delicate mission. The Zorvani, desperate for answers, had agreed to a diplomatic exchange, a chance to face their fears in the light. Tyra's envoy, a small group of humans and allied species, boarded a specially modified shuttle and headed toward Zorva Prime, the heart of the Dominion. Her orders were clear: show strength through calm and reason, not violence. As the shuttle landed, Tyra gazed out at the harsh red landscape. The capital city was a fortress of jagged towers, imposing and unyielding, much like its inhabitants. Inside the council chamber, Tyra faced the Zorvani leaders, including General Zektal himself. She began with a quiet, unwavering tone. "Your warriors fear what they cannot understand because you have not faced yourselves in centuries. You forget the lessons of history, how fear shapes us, how it can destroy or strengthen." The chamber buzzed with tension. Tyra continued, "We do not relish war. We have mastered peace through understanding our own capacity for violence and controlling it. You see our laughter as mockery, but it is confidence born of preparation." She gestured to a holographic projection, images of Earth's darkest wars, of cities in ruin, and soldiers fighting for survival. "This is our past. We have survived because we learned to harness fear, to channel it into strength." The Zorvani murmured, some visibly shaken. Tyra pressed on. "We do not seek your destruction, only your respect. But respect must be earned, not assumed." As talks progressed, a subtle shift occurred within the Zorvani. The initial bravado faded, replaced by introspection. General Zektal, once a fierce opponent, now found himself questioning the Dominion's path. In a private moment with Tyra, he admitted, "We thought you were weak because you embraced peace. But you wield your history as a weapon sharper than any blade." Tyra smiled softly. "Peace is not the absence of strength. It is the mastery of it." The psychological battle waged across the stars had reached a turning point. Zorvani fleets withdrew, their ranks fractured but alive. The Dominion Council, shaken but wiser, agreed to temporary ceasefires and proposed dialogue. Back on Earth, Tyra and Argus prepared for what might come next. "Have we won?" she asked. Argus's eyes glowed faintly. "War is not won by armies alone. It is won in minds and hearts. Today, we've taken the first step toward ending this before it begins." Tyra nodded. "Then let's make sure it's the last." As the galaxy held its breath, one thing was certain: humanity was no longer the underdog. They were the masters of a new kind of war, one fought not with sheer force, but with understanding, adaptability, and the courage to face fear itself. And that was a lesson the Zorvani, and the entire galaxy, would never forget. The war that wasn't. The galaxy waited on a knife's edge. The Zorvani Dominion's forces had pulled back, shaken but still defiant. Rumors rippled through the galactic concord. Was this the calm before a storm, or the beginning of the end? On Earth's orbital command station, Ambassador Tyra Ansel stood poised before a vast holographic display. Unlike before, this presentation was not about showing strength through fear or memories of past wars. It was something more profound, a demonstration of humanity's ultimate weapon, perspective. The projection began with images of Earth's great battles, the harsh fires of conflict etched into the fabric of history. Cities razed, families lost, civilizations reborn from ashes. Then, the scene shifted to cutting-edge technology. Fleets of autonomous ships, AI strategists analyzing war in real time, precision weapons that could disable without destruction. But then, the display faded to black. A single phrase appeared. "War is the failure of imagination." Tyra's voice echoed through the chamber, calm and steady. "We did not laugh because we dismiss war. We laughed because we have transcended it. Our civilization has faced its darkest fears and emerged not by crushing others, but by mastering ourselves." The message was broadcast across the galaxy, reaching every Zorvani ship, every council chamber, every listener. It was a challenge and an invitation. On Zorva Prime, the Dominion Council convened once more. The holographic message played repeatedly in their chambers. Some saw defiance, others saw truth. General Zektal, scarred by his recent encounters with human tactics, stepped forward. "We underestimated them," he admitted. "They do not wage war as we do. Their strength lies beyond brute force, in their minds, their histories, their resilience." Council leaders murmured among themselves, some reluctant to concede, others desperate for peace. The debate was fierce, but the weight of evidence was clear. Humanity had changed the rules of engagement. In a bold and unprecedented move, the Zorvani sent a delegation to Earth, not as conquerors, but as seekers of peace. Ambassador Tyra met them personally in the council hall on Earth. The room was filled with representatives from all corners of the galactic concord, eager to witness this historic moment. The Zorvani envoy, led by General Zektal himself, bore no weapons. Their posture was cautious but hopeful. Tyra extended a hand, which Zektal took with a firm grip. "Let this be the first step toward a new era," she said. "One where strength is measured not by destruction, but by the wisdom to avoid it." True to her word, humanity offered not retaliation, but reconciliation. Programs were launched for cultural exchange, joint scientific ventures, and conflict resolution workshops. War museums were opened to the Zorvani to learn from Earth's past mistakes. Therapy and counseling became a standard part of diplomatic relations for all involved species, addressing trauma before it could fester into hostility. Across the galaxy, this approach sent ripples of change. Where once species had viewed conflict as inevitable, now they began to see it as avoidable. Yet, beneath the surface, humanity's vigilance remained. Argus, the AI general, monitored the peace with unblinking digital eyes. "We remain prepared," Argus stated during a private briefing with Tyra. "Peace is our strategy, but readiness is our safeguard." Tyra nodded. "The galaxy must know that laughter is not weakness. It's confidence born of preparation. If war comes, we will meet it, not with fear, but with resolve. Years later, the story of the war that never fully ignited became legend. History books recounted the moment the Zorvani declared war, and humanity's unexpected response. The laughter that echoed across the void was remembered as a symbol of strength and hope. Tyra, now a revered elder and stateswoman, addressed a crowd on Earth's capital. "Peace is not the absence of conflict," she said, "but the triumph over it. We laughed because we had mastered the art of war, and in doing so, we learned to make it obsolete." The crowd erupted in applause. As the stars shone brightly above, Earth's defenders, both human and AI, stood watchful but unthreatened. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had changed it. And in the quiet between the stars, a new peace took root, one built not on fear, but on laughter, strength, and the unwavering belief that even after 1,000 years, war could still be beaten without firing a shot.